Hey everyone, it's Lynn. We've been sent this play, New Orleans and Mississippi. Let's watch it first and then we'll talk about it.
But that's a big gamble to take in the ninth. 1-1, called a strike there, and it's 1-2, and oh my.
This is the top of the ninth. There are 4 runs difference and 2 outs, so this could be the last batter of the game. The batter doesn't like a strike call, and it's demonstrative about it. The umpire doesn't eject, doesn't even say anything, which is fine, turn the other cheek. The rulebook says that you can actually discipline for that. The umpire chooses not to. That's the umpire's call. We continue the at-bat, and later on, something even more concerning happens.
1-2 coming. It's down. Oh my gosh! Wow! He got rung up on ball 2 and the game is over. Oh my goodness, that is horrific.
While there are certain events in baseball that have occurred in the past, I'm thinking about Marty Foster in Texas against Tampa for one, game-ending strike 3 calls that are probably not strikes. It happens. But in this situation, that sure looks to me, and I can't ascribe any ill intent because I'm not there and I don't know for sure, but the optics, remember this officiating profession is optically based and perception is key. Optically, this looks like an FU call, as they call it. The umpire showing up the batter by abusing their authority and calling a strike on something that is not a strike. And I'm not using that language facetiously or dramatically. That's what this is an example of, if indeed that's what appears to be is actually what happened. This sequence begins with the strike call the batter clearly disagrees with. Whether the pitch was a strike or not, again, is immaterial for the game management part of this play. The point is that the batter is being very demonstrative and in violation of the NCAA rules regarding sportsmanship. So even though the initial reaction was demonstrative, what really is the violation here is the second part, the batter using the bat to draw or point at what the batter feels the location of the pitch was. That, at any level, is unacceptable, drawing a line or at least pointing. So quite literally, the batter crossed the line. Now, this is a problem that I have with baseball. The NBA, for instance, had in 2015, they came out with something called the Respect for the Game Guidelines, which wasn't perfect, but at least the idea was here of these are acceptable actions, these are unacceptable actions to indicate your disagreement.
This type of overt air punch will be met with a technical foul, as it exceeds the Respect for the Game Guidelines, whether it's directed towards an official or not.
Now, insofar as the NBA Respect for the Game Guidelines are concerned, and they didn't really work that well, is you're using over-technical language for players who are not used to that jargon. The officials are, but the players aren't, and they're expected to abide by it. So that makes it difficult for the players to adjust and adapt. As for my problem with baseball, unlike basketball, football, hockey, there's no technical foul or unsportsmanlike penalty that's an intermediate step. In baseball, the player does this, very demonstrative, points to a location with a bat, and you can either do nothing or you can eject the player. You can talk to him, of course, but on the books formally, there's really only 2 things you can do. Lower level has, like high school has, restrict to the dugout, for instance, but baseball has a general lack of an intermediate step, which puts everyone in a very tough position. The umpire can either do nothing or eject. To be crystal clear, if this is out of nowhere, I'm good with nothing, and then just verbally telling them that next time it's going to be addressed. But the problem is that instead of doing something like that, you don't have a next time in the 9th inning, and rather than just let it go and be professional and even keeled, the umpire decides to impose, perchance, that's what it looks like at least, can't prove it, potential discipline that is not within the scope of the rules.
1-2 coming. It's down. Oh my gosh! Wow! He got rung up on ball 2 and the game is over.
The catcher having to restrain the batter from going after the umpire is a nice touch. The umpire, to his credit, leaves the field, just walks off. It's like when the demonstrative behavior happened, the umpire didn't do anything and just kept on keeping on. Unfortunately, then it looks like you have a call that isn't the call that's supposed to be made in that situation to be ending the game. And then the umpire goes back to very business-like and walking off professional, not letting anything become personal. So why didn't we get that in the middle portion? Gilbert Arenas had a take on this, by the way.
Like they overuse the power they have. That whistle is like a gun.
Now, I don't know any referee that has used their whistle to shoot anybody, but once you get past some of the hyperbole of this stuff, you get into the meat and potatoes of what Gilbert Arenas is saying.
We're playing. We are in an emotional environment. But you're trying to tell me that I need to hold my emotions down while you get to lose yours. You got to remember.
So remember when I said perception is key to officiating? Whether or not this is true, it's what it comes across as. So if you just go about your job and you enforce the book as written, the rules as written, the rules give you an option to discipline unsportsmanlike conduct. Again, I have a huge problem with baseball not having an intermediate warning the same way that the other sports do, but you call things unemotionally based on the rules. It's not personal, it's the uniform.
In the game when this is not, they didn't come here to see you.
I did.
But the fact that you are taking it so personal means you are an emotional man and you should not have a whistle. Wow. Too much power.
Notwithstanding the destructive misogyny in saying that emotional men shouldn't have whistles, my gosh, is that offensive. The point to take away here is that officiating comes with power to manage a game, and that power should never been abused. You should not react emotionally to things, but you can have emotions. The job is to call the game by the book. Sure, there's going to be judgment, discretion, and interpretations that you have to make along the way, but it's never to the point of actually breaking the rules by calling a strike on a pitch that's clearly a ball. One thing that has never sit well with me are the veteran umpires, many retired by now, who almost gleefully declared that they deliberately called strikes on pitches that they knew were balls to test rookies or to get even with players who wronged them. To be clear, all umpires will make mistakes. It happens. Nobody's perfect. Jim Joyce wrote a book about that. Now, that's fine, and you're going to call strikes on pitches that are balls in the course of doing your duties, but you need to do your duties to the best of your ability and try in good faith. There's a difference between calling a strike on a ball because you tried and you thought it was a strike versus calling a strike on a ball that you knew was a ball and you're just calling it a strike to get back at a player because you didn't like what they did. The rulebook and video, potentially audio, can support you if you discipline the player for unsportsmanlike conduct, but nothing will support you for deliberately calling a strike a ball. That is changing the rule. It is completely ethically unacceptable, and that needs to be removed from our game. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe here. Visit us online at closecallsports.com. On the socials, same thing. Maybe chat about it on Discord, and we'll see you on the site.